showtime.
It's time for that radio show everyone loves.
Do not attempt to change the station. Just listen, and we'll keep broadcasting.
It's time to begin the show.
1039 LI News Radio presents Your Island, the very best in talk radio, with your host, Tom Schiliro.
And once again, welcome back to our Thursday edition. Now, this segment of our program is being brought to you by the Suffolk County Police Benevolent Association. The PBA serves to support law enforcement, participate in special events and programs, all designed to help protect our community. They care about you and keeping us all safe. From the anti-drinking and driving campaigns to protecting our children with education on the Megan's Law. The PBA promotes a great relationship between the police and the people it's sworn to serve. Suffolk County is one of the safest counties in the country, and the PBA takes pride in strong belief in our security. They have honored our fallen heroes and contribute greatly to our suburban way of life. Need to know more? Go right to that website, www.suffolkcountypba.org. Noel DiGirolamo, President. Also, this segment is being brought to you by the Brookhaven Town Republican Committee. Under Supervisor Ed Romaine, Brookhaven Town is controlling taxes, strengthening town finances, and earning Wall Street's highest AAA rating. Brookhaven Republicans are improving our quality of life by tearing down more than 300 zombie houses and preserving our environment through the preservation of over 1,100 acres of open space and expanding the use of electric and hybrid cars in the town. Visit their website at brookhavenrepublicans.com. Let's get into it. This is our Thursday edition. As you well know, we take this segment to highlight the great men and women of our police department. This is our Eye on Crime segment. And as promised, the last segment of today's show, open up to phone calls on the historic events that took place last night in the House of Representatives, and we'll open that up to discussion. My guest during this Eye on Crime segment is Detective James Murphy of the Human Trafficking and Investigations Division. Just a pleasure to have him on, and we can get a definition of what that means in terms of law enforcement, the type of police work that's done here in Suffolk County. We're taking your phone calls, talking about human trafficking now. 631-451-1039. Detective Murphy, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Tom. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I think you were. I think you might have been on one other time. I think you were on the show back in the past. So it's good to have you back again. Human trafficking. You know, to me, that's almost a phrase that we apply on a national level, having to do with federal law enforcement. Where does it fit into our general conversation here in Suffolk County?
Well, that's a great start, Tom. A lot of people that I talk to think that we're dealing with the movie Taken or things that are happening at the border, and that's far from what we've seen. We started in March of 2018, not really knowing what we were going to find out. And in that time, we've already identified well over 220 girls that are trapped in this lifestyle here in Suffolk County. And to make that number even worse, 95% of that number were born and raised here in Suffolk County. These are actually our girls that are trapped in this lifestyle, being abused, tortured, and forced to sell themselves. These are our nieces, our neighbors, our child's classmates.
You know, I'm actually listening to you. I'm in shock. I'm telling you, I have to feign some ignorance here because I didn't realize that. You know, I keep thinking that, you know, it's about importation and so on. And the mere fact that you say that many of them are actually Suffolk County residents, maybe if they were born here, they're birthright American citizens to a large extent. What's behind this? Is it organized crime? Is it the gangs that we're seeing? I know we're dealing with MS-13 and so on. I think we could start with that. Is there a convoluence of that element of criminal activity that we're seeing here in Suffolk County?
We do see some gang element with the traffickers, but mostly it's these traffickers are manipulators. They find these girls that are depressed, they're lonely, and they're, as we call them, broken because they've gone through some horrible times at home, some of them, with some sex abuse, some rapes in their prior, and they're easily manipulated, and that's what we're seeing.
631-451-1039. You know, if we go back to the old days, you can remember if you would always see the old stigma. A young girl decides that she wants to become an actress and come into New York City, and then she would be picking up by the so-called pimp and so on. How is that different now in terms of human trafficking?
Yeah, Tom, we're trying to change the perception here in Suffolk County. We've found about 1% of the girls involved in this lifestyle have a choice being in that lifestyle. 99% are there because they've been manipulated or coerced. These girls don't want to be in this lifestyle. They have been trapped. They're being abused. They're being forced to use the drugs, become addicted. So we're trying to change that perception. It's not somebody that wants to get into the acting lifestyle and fell into this or actually has a choice.
You know, I'm finding it again. It's almost like, particularly now you're talking about being forced into a particular lifestyle, a particular criminal lifestyle. Again, our number is 631-451-1039. Quite a horrendous topic we're talking about right now, this high concept of human trafficking and the fact that we here in Suffolk County has set up this type of a division or an enforcement of this. And I'm with Detective Sergeant James Murphy. Is there a profile, age profile, race profile on something like this?
No, not at all. They come in all sizes and shapes. Most of the girls that we come in contact with are between the ages of about 17 and 24, but pretty much all of them tell us that they were recruited between the ages of 13 and 15. And put that into context, that's high school age, Tom.
Yeah. Now, again, what about a family structure here? Obviously, they have parents in some shape or form. Are they reporting this to you folks in terms of yourself, like Detective Sergeant James Murphy? Are they reporting it to you and your unit? Or is this something that you stumble upon in the investigation of other crimes and so on? I mean, it's kind of interesting how this whole thing would emanate and start in order to do an investigation.
Yeah, most of it is us doing an investigation. We get tips or debriefings from other police officers on suspicious activity. So we'll start looking at traffickers and trying to ID who he's been around, who he may be controlling, and we start an investigation like that. Most of our trafficking is done via the internet, so a lot of it on sex sites. All of this is done in hotels and motels throughout Suffolk County. So it's a lot of surveillances, it's a lot of digging, a lot of data mining.
How does, I'm trying to visualize this. Obviously, you would have the answer to the sort of thing. When you do come across this, and you do come across the victims, these young women are victims of this human trafficking. What is their reaction? Are they at a point where the drugs have clouded their thought, their perception, and so on? Or is it just something that they receive the police with open arms and they're glad to be out of that lifestyle? It almost seems like it's a cloudy area here when it comes to that sort of thing.
No, it's usually the latter, Tom. They're usually thankful that we're involved. We've also made partnerships with advocacy agencies, especially ECLI. They're available to us 24/7. So when we locate one of these victims during an interview process, we immediately call ECLI. They come down and they start helping them rebuild the path that they're supposed to be on, whether that's drug rehab, shelter, clothing, helping them move forward.
What's provided for them? Are they given by these wretched, horrible, low-life people, which is what they are, that purvey on these young people and do this sort of thing? Do they provide them, or are they given bare subsistence, no medical care, no sanitary conditions, essentially just a wretched lifestyle for a wretched life?
No, it's really sad. We since our inception, we've locked up over 51 people that are involved in sex trafficking. They provide drugs. They provide the hotel room. That's pretty much it. A little while ago, we had found one of our sex traffickers we were looking for, and in the back of his van, he had 3 women. They're all local, Suffolk, raised and born. They were in the back of the van, hardly dressed. They hadn't eaten in 3 days. This was right in Holbrook, Tom. That's right in the middle of Suffolk County. 3 days not eating. I personally, I would call that torture.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to you, Sarge, and I'm in shock at this because I think many of us, we know about, and many of the folks listen to this show on Thursdays, and we talk to the great men and women of the Suffolk Police Department, and we learn so much, whether it's highway patrol or computer theft and so on. But you're in a different area of police work, and I find it interesting that it's kind of a new area, because you had said something that began in 2018. Did somebody recognize a need that we here in Suffolk County got to go that far when it comes to law enforcement in terms of starting a unit like yours or starting this particular area?
Yeah, it just came about in 2017. They realigned what they have as a kidnap team, and that kidnap team was in charge of overseeing human trafficking. They realigned that and gave that to Detective Lieutenant Masana and myself, and we took it upon ourselves to start researching and gathering some information, and we just presented that to the administration. They agreed that we had some victims out there that weren't being helped, and they gave us the go-ahead to start a unit.
And the statistics show that. The number of people that you just put out just a few minutes ago on the number of arrests, I'm surprised, 51 arrests. That's quite a bit when you think about it, and the number of victims that are out there and the statistics of the victimization of what's being done. What should people look out for? I mean, it's almost like, if you see something, say something. I don't know what applies to what you do as far as preventing this and to try to let people be aware that this is, in fact, going on in our county.
Well, that's the first thing we're doing, Tom, is trying to bring awareness to the community, letting them know that this is actually going on. We've pretty much been in every hotel and motel in Suffolk County, and this is going on in every one of them. We've been trying to talk to management, talk to the clerks. We've been in the school districts, talking to superintendents, letting them know that this is going on. Not that they're being recruited in high school, but most of our girls are being recruited between 13 and 15 years old. So they're being recruited at the same time they're walking down the halls of these schools. We got to start recognizing the girls that are vulnerable. If you see somebody in a hotel and there's activity going in and out of that room, there's a reason for that. And yeah, I would love a call on that.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad we're putting this out there. Once again, 631-451-1039 if you have a question about human trafficking, which, again, I don't ordinarily associate that with our local police department. And I'm thankful for Detective Sergeant James Murphy for bringing this information out to us. And I know I alluded to it before, but does the individuals that do this, are they part of a greater criminal conspiracy? Or is it wolf can get started and pervade this horrible aspect of crime?
Oh, without a doubt, it could be a lone wolf. The gangs that we see, they're not particularly working in conjunction with each other. It's usually a small group of traffickers that work together to recruit these girls and traffic them.
And some of these girls, as you said, could be not given the proper sanitary conditions, medical conditions, enough food, and so on. It's almost like it's what you read about in some of these third world countries, this forced slavery. I'm almost thinking of it that way. I don't know if that's the proper term to use, but to put this out there. Did you ever do a profile? Now, you arrested 51 people. A profile of those individuals, who they are, where they came from, and how they got started in something like this.
We tried, but Tom, it runs the gamut. We have every community involved, we have every race involved, and we have every age involved. We've locked up traffickers that are 18, 47, black male, white male, you name it, from all different communities in Suffolk County. So it's not just one segment of the population that's involved.
Does it go to the fact, is this a lucrative business in the criminal conspiracy world? And is this something that pays for these piece of garbage people to do? How else to refer to them? But, again, those individuals that take this up as a criminal act, is this something that they can make money off of?
That's a great question. It's very lucrative. We were seeing a lot of crack dealers, and a crack dealer has to have, say, about 60 or 70 customers, and they sell this crack to each one of them, and they have to watch them. They have to know if it's an undercover police officer coming to them, and they get a piece of crack. They can only sell it once. You handle 3 girls, and you can sell them 5, 8, 10 times a day. So the money is triple or quadruple what you get from dealing crack.
Which, again, if there's money there, then this type of criminal conspiracy is going to take place. And I would caution anybody that knows anybody that is one of those customers, because by doing what you're doing, you're bringing this about. Let's take some phone calls. We're going to take Mike over there in Rocky Point. Mike, what do you say? You're on the air, sir.
Hello, Tom. Long time no talk. Sarge,
how are you?
What are they saying to these young girls to even get them interested in something like this? And follow that with where are the parents when this is happening?
All right. Well, what you have is a total manipulation. So these girls are like everybody else. What they're looking for is love. And these manipulators, these traffickers know that. So they just show them a little bit of caring, a little bit of love, and that girl attaches to that. And when she really feels it, she doesn't want to lose it. And she'll do anything he asks to keep that because she's not feeling it inside.
Yes. Okay. Like every predator.
Every predator. Absolutely.
You know, I guarantee you, because I spent a lot of years doing all types of security. If you had a trafficking forum at Town Hall at Brookhaven, you would pack the room. Because this is something, I'm listening to you getting pissed off. That this happens right under our nose.
Oh, I am too. I'm agreeing with Mike. I mean, and I spent years in law enforcement. I finished up my career with the Suffolk County Police Department, and I'd have to say, I didn't hear too much about this. Is that so unusual from the retired guys that you come across, Detective?
Yeah, from the retired guys and the community itself. You know, this year has been a real big year for us. We also partnered up and formed an initiative, the Suffolk County Anti-Trafficking Initiative. We partnered up with the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney's Office, Probation, the FBI, HSI. So we get together every month to try and combat this and work together. And it's not just smoke and mirrors. We're actually doing things together to get the word out.
I'll tell you, God bless this type of police work. Let's get to another call. Thanks, Mike. Let's take James over there in Calverton. James, what do you say? You're on the air.
You're not pointing the finger at the right people, but you're talking about this goes on in motels all over Long Island. Well, they have cameras. They know what's going on. They know that they're prostitutes. You're not calling them prostitutes. You're calling them human trafficking. What I don't understand is, didn't New York just pass a law saying that prostitutes can't be arrested anymore?
No.
Want to arrest these people are victims,
one of
James.
The 32 crimes that you can commit without bail or jail. So, you know, they could be arrested, they're going to give a ticket to them, and they're going to go prostitute again. And the thing is, one big thing in this, if they didn't have the clientele, they wouldn't be prostitutes. And they're getting them online. These kids are on Facebook. They're having 13 and 15. I see kids walking to grammar school with smartphones. I don't understand it at all. I mean, when I was in high school, I didn't even have a phone.
Again, I just want to clarify. These we're not calling them. These are victims here. Am I right?
Yeah, that's Well, if you look at the trauma that they've endured, yes, they're certainly victims.
Victims. I don't want to pin that label on them because I think they're being forced into this. I want to get to another call. I think we got Angela on there. Angela, you're on the line.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. This is such an important topic, and as a child advocate, I would also just like to remind all of the listeners that these people, not only are they traffickers, these are also child predators. And nationally in the country right now, it's not just girls, it's boys, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. And some of them come from really, really good families that want to protect them. And they fall victim to this disgusting underbelly of society. And it's our job. If we can't protect the children in our society, then where have we gone morally? And it's such an important topic, and I think it needs a lot more exposure.
Good point to that, Angela. Detective, your thoughts on what Angela said? Any more people involved in this and so on? But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that was our goal when we started this. Our goal wasn't just to arrest people. It was actually to identify the victims that are out there and try and get them out of that lifestyle. And that's why we partnered up with the advocacy agencies to try and assist them to get out of that. We're also in the community outreach. We're trying to make awareness, getting into the schools, the churches, community groups, because we can't do this ourselves. We need help.
Right. I'd also like to add, as a mother of 4 boys and an educator myself, that a lot of parents need to be very, very vigilant about what kind of sites their children are on. A lot of these sites have age requirements. Facebook, 18 years old, Instagram, 18 years old. But a lot of children that are much younger, I've had several students in the past talk about their Instagram accounts, Facebook accounts, and parents need to be actively involved. And if it means checking their phone once in a while and seeing what kinds of sites, what kind of communication, they're having online, I think it's really important for the safety of children.
Angela, thanks for calling in. You helped us with our discussion. Appreciate it. And you keep up the good work that you're doing also, Angela, in this very, very important talk. Detective, I'll let you have the final word on this. Do you find that a lot of people are as surprised as I am that this sort of thing is going on here in Suffolk County?
Normally when we do our talks, they're shocked. When I do my talks, I give a lot more details of some of the cases that we've worked on. I also give hometowns and locations, and they see that it's actually going on in their backyard, in their neighborhood, and in their schools. So yeah, it's normally shock, and most of them come up afterwards and ask, how they can help.
Yeah, once again, Detective Sergeant James Murphy, Human Trafficking Investigations Unit. Detective, you have a great day. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.
Short break. I'm Tom Schiliro. When we get back, we'll be talking the events of last night, the historic events of last night. We'll be taking your phone calls. Let's see what Long Island thinks about the impeachment of the President of the United States. We'll be right back.